Welcome to the Netherlands, a country known for windmills, wooden shoes and tulips. The national dish is roll mop herring, raw herring with raw onions. And the favourite mode of transport, the pedal bike. Also famous in the motor racing world is its classic circuit in the dunes, and it's here where we're gathered for the third round of the Hankook 24H Series 2015. This is the Hankook 12H ZANDVOORT endurance race, part of the official FIA-approved 24H series.
We are in the Netherlands at the moment at Circuitpark Zandvoort, and we're ready for the Hankook 12H Zandvoort. This is the second edition of the Hankook 12H Zandvoort, so the second time we're here at our home track at Circuitpark Zandvoort, so it's lovely to be back for the second edition.
This Dutch circuit is legendary, and for good reason.
The history goes back to the 1940s when the circuit was created, and it was created on the dune hill, so it's shaped through the dunes and it's following the natural flows of the circuit, and that is really making it quite unique. It's like a dune roller coaster for race drivers, and every turn is different, every corner is different, some fast corners, some technical corners, a real challenge for new drivers but also for the most experienced drivers.
Well, it's great. I love tracks which have changes in elevation and camber. It makes them more interesting. I would compare this one probably closest to Brands Hatch. They have similar type of corners, fast, slow, changes in elevation. Both very good tracks, both for ex-Formula One tracks, and there's a lot of similarities, and that's a good thing.
We have a small track in Denmark that's a little bit similar. It's also a roller coaster, but it's much smaller.
I don't think Zandvoort is really like any other track. It's I can't think of anywhere that's similar. I mean, in the UK, you know, it's there's nothing like it. It's a very unique track.
In the past we had Formula One, and also Zandvoort was known for one of the most popular races in A1 Grand Prix history, with just orange dunes because we had so many fans. So yeah, it's a target we also hope for the Hankook 12H Zandvoort in the future.
The Hankook 12H Zandvoort is part of the 24-hour series. It's one of the 6 races we organized this year. We start with a race in Dubai, the 24 hours. Then we have a 12 hours in Italy, Mugello. We had it. So this is our third race in the series, the 12 hours of Zandvoort. After Zandvoort, we go to Paul Ricard. After the 24 hours of Paul Ricard, we have a 24-hour race in Barcelona, and the closing will be in Brno for a 12-hour race.
It takes almost a year to organise an event like this. Finally, on the Monday before the event, the first trucks arrived, not only from the teams coming early, but also from Creventic and the organisation. They need to have the whole circuit ready for the 24-hour series by the time most of the teams get here. By Friday, the paddock will be filled with lorries and teams from all over the world. America, Australia, the United Arab Emirates and the United Kingdom, Russia and Luxembourg. They can all be found at Circuitpark Zandvoort in the Dutch province of North Holland. Back to Friday, where ahead of a race in 2 parts.
Here we are in Zandvoort, a very nice racetrack. We expect a very nice race, a good atmosphere like always, and everybody have fun.
You know, it's more cars than last year, so you have to watch out for the traffic, and then we have to see at the end. I think there are good competition here, and we hope we are the one who will win it.
It's a good field, a lot of fast drivers, but it's a beautiful car and a beautiful track, so I'm going to enjoy myself and try to see where we end up, but yeah, maybe a trophy.
I think all drivers have a big job and all drivers make it good.
hope it stays dry for the start. That's the expectation. For now, we hope we get battles in all classes, and after 3 hours, everybody's still on the track, driving and ready for the next day.
It's nearly 4 in the afternoon. The race is set on its way by race director Martin van der Pavet. It's therefore good luck to all the drivers.
I don't need luck, I need sex and money.
The 29th of May 2015. Pole position. The second Hofer Racing team with car number 10, the Mercedes-Benz SLS, 1:38.283, 0.3 of a second faster in the qualifying than the number 30 Ram Racing Mercedes. Third place, another SLS, this time from HP Racing. It looks like a sprint race, and Alfred Renard, who's from 4th position, is already attacking Harry Procik's third, more successful Tom Coronel, who's gone by Yuri Pisarik's Ferrari, comes out of Tarzan in 5th position. At the first chicane, the field is still tightly packed. Some have managed to gain a position or two. Vincent Desbrier had qualified his Porsche 991 in 18th behind the 2 Mark Australia cars, but he's able to get by both SP2 cars before he exited the Hugenholtz Bocht. 5 Mercedes-Benz SLS are creating a gap to the rest of the field. However, a couple of cars have started from the pit lane and joined the race after the whole field has gone by.
In the start grid we had problems with the electronic, and then I must come in at the start. After the formation lap I came in, and then we solved the problems here in the box. But then we solved it, and then we start from behind the field.
When we came in from free practice, there was a brake line leaking, and it was difficult to fix. So we qualified very badly, and then when the race started in the afternoon, we found another brake problem. So as a result of that, we started from pit lane, and we were dead last to leave the race. It's got better ever since then.
There's about 50 cars on the track and just under 12 hours to go, but still many are battling for position. Then again, with 7 different classes, there are 21 podium places to fight for. In the A6 class, Tom Coronel, very aggressive, he's doing well. And whilst Coronel is taking 2nd place overall, Team GC Automobile find that Zandvoort can be quite tough. Luckily, Lionel Amarouche manages to get the GC Automobile V8 roaring again and continues their race. Meanwhile, several teams are calling their drivers in for new tyres. That's because it started to rain here in Zandvoort. One of the first to pit, race leader Christian Frankenhout. Not everyone agrees with the decision though.
In the beginning it was drizzling, it wasn't raining like properly, so then slicks are still faster than rain tires. So it was quite a while when the first cars came in that I was still quicker on slick tires than they were on rain tires. It needs to rain like pretty hard before actually rain tires are quicker. It was still a dry line for a long time, so we stayed out as long as possible.
Xavier Masson's circuit knowledge is clearly helping him, like race leader Tom Coronel. The way he's driving through the traffic, clearly he's got good grip. Surely he didn't have the foresight to start on wet.
Yeah, I started also just with slick tires, no problem. Everybody was on slicks. But I think they had less confidence than me at the track. I mean, it was raining a little bit, and then it was sometimes a little bit slippery. I could take a few different lines, and yeah, I believe at a gap of 50 seconds even. I asked, and how was it going? Yeah, good, 50 seconds. Oh, not bad.
A team is working for almost a full year to organise this event. However, rain is beyond the control of the organisers.
I love the circuit, I love Zandvoort. I enjoyed it last year and I like it even more this year. But man, this weather is just awful. I mean, you guys could have put something on better than this, surely. We've come a long way for this.
The field now is divided into cars that change to rain tyres and those who are still on slicks. This is making the race even more unpredictable. In all classes there are surprises. Team Ultron have 2 identical Peugeot 208s in the A3T class. The car number 208 started from 27th position and first in class, passing their 205 car, which started from the pit lane. That's a whole lap difference. And in the meantime, the rain is getting heavier.
It was like the drift challenge here. I was playing with the ASR, the anti-slip, but no, I liked it a lot. I could see that the others had very much difficulty, especially in the high-speed corners. You could see my trust was there. Also, I think the circuit knowledge.
I think for a local driver you have an advantage, but if you have a good pro driver or a good driver in the car and the car is doing well, you'll be fast everywhere. But yeah, there are like little things that help you, that you know in the rain, that are just helping that little bit.
If it rains just a little and there's a strong wind off the North Sea, there's still normally a dry racing line to be found. However, when the rain increases, even the local boys need to change their tyres. Tom Coronel calls to the pits, changes his tyres and adds a fuel stop. That's going to cost him the overall lead. Most teams now on wet tyres, but still a few drivers on track that continue to race on slicks.
The team decided I should carry on slicks as long as possible, so 40 minutes on slicks. Like, I'm only about 30 years old, but after driving 40 minutes on slicks, I look 65. Like in New Zealand, it rains a lot as well, so I'm used to rain, but the speed differential of the cars in this race are quite frightening, and in the rain it's even worse because you don't have the same control, or the other guys don't have the same control. I'm in control all the time.
Despite not being in a top-class car, Xavier Masson has managed to take the lead by being one of the last to change to rain tyres. After 47 minutes of racing, however, he brings the Porsche 991 Cup car into the pit lane and changes to wets.
I just went in a little bit quick into turn one. ABS was going mad, couldn't stop. I went into the gravel, and in the process of getting out, I spun up a lot of stones up into the rear bumper bar, which I wasn't aware of at the time, but I got out in the track, kept going, and I think I did 2 laps. And I came around onto the straight on the 3rd lap, and there's a white bar on the side of the track. I thought, as I went past, that looks awfully like a Mazda rear bar. As it turns out, it was my bar. I had no idea until I got back in the trap.
With these terrible weather conditions, it's good to see that most did stay on the circuit.
A lot of aquaplaning on the straight line. It was very dangerous. But yeah, at the end we're still here and still leading the class, so very good.
Those that stayed out on slicks longest have ended up higher in the rankings than those who went for wets early. That's odd then that Zandvoort veteran Christian Frankenhout was one of the first to change his tyres.
I want to be on rain tyres, so I choose to go, I think, as one of the first. But then the rain was less, and so maybe slicks was then better, but the team said, okay, go on because it's going to rain, but you have to wait. So I was slowing down on the rain tyres not to ruin them, and then at the end it started to rain, so at the end it came out okay.
The wet weather conditions also accounted for another problem for some drivers to overcome.
I couldn't see, the glass was fogged up, and but it was down to about 8 litres of fuel, so it was time to come in.
The torrential rain has made it hard to race, but it's an hour and 45 minutes into the event before the first Code 60 occurs.
All of the wheel lock, and I try to slip and try again, and last the wall. So.
The Code 60 was partly because of an incident with the Zest race car of Martin Gutsch. However, water on the track has been a problem too. Marshals all around the circuit have to move it and push away as much of the puddles as they can. It seems the old-fashioned techniques still work best in conditions like this. Around the 2-hour mark, the green flags are waved again and we're back to full speed. There were 41 pit stops during this first Code 60, so that means a lot of drivers are now new to the race. 2 hours of the race have gone, so let's have a look at the overall standings. After Tom Coronel handed over to Ivo Breukers, the latter managed to hold on to the lead and keep a distance between him and Tom Onslow Cole. Third overall is Charles Espenlaub, just on the track. He's taken over the number 20 just 2 minutes before the 2-hour mark. The drivers are only allowed a maximum of 2 hours in the car, so Xavier Masson has clearly used the time available to the max. The SP3 class, the field has been well divided. We're at the Netherlands at the famous Circuit Park Zandvoort for the Hankook 12H Zandvoort 2015. One of the spectators, circuit press officer Kees Koning.
The Hankook 12 Hours of Zandvoort is a completely different event compared to all other motorsport events we have at Zandvoort. It's a real endurance race with fast GT cars, exciting touring cars, but also very special endurance special cars. A real interesting race which is really unique in its sort, and it's a real challenge for teams to compete here in the pit lane, and of course for all the drivers out there. So it's a great event.
But the pit lane is not the place that you'd want to be for a long time.
We pitted for the wets, came back out, we were still in the lead, and unfortunately the gearbox oil cooler pump has just failed on our car, so it's overheated the differential, and we're just changing the diff at the moment. The pump was new at Mugello, and unfortunately it's just a defective part, so that's motorsport, unfortunately.
In the A6 class, the HP Racing number 2 car was 5th at the 2-hour mark. Now behind the wheel, former Formula 1 driver and all-time DTM record holder Bernd Schneider. In the lead car, Ivo Bruchers, an endurance amateur. Normally he competes in a Seat. And Johannes Siegler, in the meantime, missed turn 1, ended up in the tyre barrier. When he came back to the track, the bonnet clearly had other ideas. And whilst the marshals on the other side of the circuit helped Philippe Richard to return to the track, so did the marshals at Tarzan. Siegler is closing his bonnet again.
Well, it's going very well. For me, Zandvoort is a new circuit. Difficult to learn quickly, and then throw in some wet weather and some very wet weather, and caution is definitely the better way in a long race, particularly when the faster cars are around and they don't give you a lot of room.
The 12-hour race is split into 3 hours on Friday and 9 hours on Saturday. With the 3-hour mark in sight, there's a decision to make by all the teams. Do they go in and get some fuel today, or do they stay on track, use the fuel and maybe get some track position? So 2 cars of the same class, if they've got the finish line with the overall race leader between them, that will be a 1-lap difference at the restart tomorrow. So again, it's all about tactics.
Well, we were at the end of the rain first and I think 5th, starting from the last place for the 205.
After leaving the pit lane in the number 9 car, Christian Frankenhout gets into difficulties in the gravel at the first corner. He gets back to the track and needs to make a turn. Well, it's just too tight for his Mercedes SLS, so he's got to go anti-clockwise to avoid getting stuck on the curb. Others had a better run.
I think we're doing quite well. I believe we might be second in class at the moment. So that's a good solid position to be in, and we've only done 1/4 of the race. So tomorrow I think we're looking good.
We're heading for the end of the first 3 hours, and after a steady race, the number 30 Ram Racing Mercedes SLS is the first to cross the finish line. They did 84 laps, and so did the rest of the top 4, all on the same lap, and surely we haven't seen the last of the battles between these Mercedes SLS AMGs just yet.
When it started to rain, we thought maybe a lot of accident will happen because it's a tricky circuit as well. But in the end, I think only 3 cars had some problems, but the rest it worked out really well. So I think we have good drivers, good teams, and they manage the weather conditions really well. After 3 hours, there's an intervention of the race, and the race will go on the next day. That's because of the noise level. We can't make any noise after 7 o'clock at Circuitpark Zandvoort. So that's why we have the intervention. So 3 hours on Friday, 9 hours on Saturday.
Let's take a look at the overall standings.
You cannot work on the car. It's not allowed. You have park fermé. So everybody's off and they can have a good time, and just in the back they have something to eat. Lots of barbecue. I think there were 45 people around with us. Have some beers, not too much of course, but a little one. And have some fun. It's part of the reason why we all do this.
The positive atmosphere, everybody's barbecuing and having a beer and chatting with each other, and that's what we like.
With the teams having some fun in the paddock, let's fast forward to Saturday. Saturday morning and a much sunnier Zandvoort today. One of the main sponsors of this FIA-approved Hankook 12H series is BRM Watches. They're the official timekeeper of the series, and it's commemorated by the specially designed Hankook 24-hour series watches. All of the series class winners will take one of those home at the end of the season in Brno. There were also personalised BRM watches awarded for the Hankook 24 Hours of Dubai. These were presented this weekend by BRM's Charles Meistelman.
Today we've given the watch of the winner class of Dubai. It took a long time to make the watches because it was something very special that we made only for the winner class of Dubai. So it was a very special watch, and that's why we delivered them here in Zandvoort. BRM is really focused on motorsport. That's why we've made a watch hybrid. It's a quartz movement but automatic, so you don't have battery inside, you just wear the watch, and the dial is a special dial for the 24 hours. And all the watch that we have made, we engraved the name of the driver, the name of the team, the car, the number of the car, and the name of the race. So it's a very special watch. It's not like we open a box, we take a watch and we give them. We made something very special and like customized only for them.
It's time to go back to the grid now, and on the main straight the cars are waiting to start the second part of this endurance race. Teams this time are also allowed to change their tyres, even though the cars are essentially still in parc fermé. This was a decision made by the organisers yesterday because of the very different weather conditions today. Now, not everyone is on the main straight though. Some cars needed repairs last night. That will cost them a 10-lap penalty, and we'll start from the pit lane.
We'd actually finished the car before the finish of the racing, but they wanted to check over things in more detail, so they said, look, we'll go for the 10-lap penalty and just make sure we get everything right, so we're better off today.
Today is second part of the race. We expect the battles go on. The weather looks good. The weather forecast is really sunny, so compared to yesterday with a lot of rain, today is going to be dry.
I hope it rains also a little bit, then it's getting more complicated. So I think that will be nice also.
But it's dry, at least sunny, good conditions. So we're looking forward to the next 9 hours.
I expect a real challenging race. We have a lot of fast GT cars in the front. Compared to the times when we look at the free practices, they are really close to each other. Zandvoort is a real challenging track, not only for overtaking but also to deal with traffic of the a bit more slower divisions. So yeah, I expect a great race which will be exciting until the finish.
I hope there will be some good battles in all classes, not only in A6, but like yesterday in the A2 with the Clios, with the BMW. So I hope the battles continues. But I think the important part is that no big accidents will happen, so everybody will be safe after 12 hours.
The green flag is waved and we're ready to start the warm-up laps. Not every car manages to start up again after a night on the circuit. Yellow flags being waved to warn for the cars with start-up difficulties. The Honda Civic of VDS Racing Adventures, even with the help of marshals, can't get started, so it's pushed back to the pit lane, and the second warm-up lap has already started. Also problems for the 16 Audi R8 LMS GT3. It's not going to be able to start from its 9th place on the grid. On the warm-up lap, it spun at the exit of the Hugenholzbocht. Bad luck for Simpson Motorsport. The light's gone off, the clock has started its countdown, and the second part of the Hankook 12 Hours of Zandvoort has officially started. 3 and 4 cars abreast rushing to the first corner. While in sprint races this would be a recipe for serious accident, but here it seems everyone has a little bit of sense and they can get through the first corners without even bumping their wing mirrors. Not that there aren't serious fights for positions going on. In the midfield towards the Hugenholz corner, the number 112 and 126 Renault from the A2 class overtaking 2 BMWs, the 79 and 72. Now that's in a higher Cup 1 category, but in their turn they're trying to overtake the 335 BMW of another higher class in A5. The Ram Racing team achieved second place in Dubai and second in Mugello, but they're clearly now set to look for a win this time at Zandvoort. While Secourtal Zorg Rennsport is clearly still having problems, Paul Follett returned to the pit box just after the start. The middle classes are fighting for positions amongst themselves. Now with the A6 cars a little faster and on their way to lap them, they know it won't be long before looking in the rear mirror will be just as important as looking ahead.
The race is moment is very hard. We have many fights with the other cars, with the Renault Clio and the other M4, because the fight are with the Cup BMWs, and then the infight is very hard that we can come further in the round.
The second and third position cars have already gone to get fuel, but Jaeger is still increasing his lead. Clearly there's a different fuel plan going on.
Zandvoort is a very demanding track, nice track, uphill, downhill, lots of faster and mid-fast corners, which is really, it makes fun to drive here, but it's also very difficult, very challenging, but I like it here.
In the meantime, Jens Vogt has a mishap just after the S chicane with the 45 Porsche 997 Cup car, roughly at the same time that the 145 BMW of Remo is forced to take their car back into the pit too. However, when Jens tries to get his Athrea Sport Porsche back to the track, well, I'm sure he's going to frighten some of the other drivers.
There's a Ford Focus, which is very fast actually, in a straight line, and he's not quite as quick as me on the corners, so I caught him up and he just wouldn't let me past, and I thought, well, I'm going to have to make a bit of a dive somewhere, so down the end of the start-finish straight, I thought I'll take a dive down the inside, and he usually goes slightly wide on that, and I can take it a nice tight line. I took the inside line, tried to dive down the inside, and then he decided to take a tight line. It just didn't want me to come past. So anyway, I spun it. So, and I think I got on film for it. So we shall see.
Teams show up at the circuit with lorries full of tools and spare parts. However, during the race, the miracle tool for instant repair is duct tape, in any shape, colour or form. And of course, more duct tape is needed very soon. Sadly, not all problems can be solved just with duct tape. Sometimes you've got to come in and get fuel. Another stroke of bad luck for the Sukurtal 161 car. Tom Coronel, meanwhile, has taken over the lead in the 67 GDL car when Thomas Jaeger took the 30 Ram Racing Mercedes into the pits for fuel and a driver change. However, the lead is being fought over very, very heavily.
Me and Tom go a while back. Like 15 years ago, he taught me here how to drive. And now, so we know each other. We know the tricks. He knows what I know what he knows. So it was really hard to overtake.
I knew it was Christian because I saw the circuit knowledge also, because he's also an instructor at the racing school here. We both are. So I mean, it was fun. I had fun with Christian. He's a good guy.
It was a nice fight, and we kept it clean. So that was the main thing. Of course, it's a 12-hour race, so it's not like a sprint race or WTCC what he does normally. It's not door-to-door action, but we made it very close, I think.
It was a big crash with a BMW. I don't know exactly. He was outside. I was inside. He was too optimistic. It was a fast corner. I don't know. It was a race accident.
When you get to code 60, a common sight is a full pit lane. During that part of the race, no one can go faster than 60 kilometers an hour, about 37 miles an hour. It's the ideal time to get your fuel. Least positions lost on the track, but then everybody has the same idea. There's only 5 petrol pumps, and queuing might just cost you more time than you'd save during a green flag. Miroslav Konopka in the 45 Porsche notices this in time, decides to break out of the queue, and decides to wait for fuel till later on. Rick Breukers has had to return to the pits. The gull-wing door wasn't closed properly. Now, Rick's young. At 17 years old, he's much younger than his GDL teammates. So how does team owner Gianluca De Lorenzi get on with this new driver to the team?
Yeah, very happy because, Tom is a good driver, no problem. Ivo is fantastic, and Rick is fantastic news because he's very, very young. He's no mistake, nothing. He's professional, and he listens everything, my engineering for the work in the circuit. He's very good.
My dad drives around, I think, 20 years now. And yeah, I started with karting and now I'm doing endurance series. I did Audi R8 in Dubai, Seat Leon in Silverstone, and last year I did Seat Leon here too, in Barcelona also, and Hungary, all Seat Leon. Tom Cornell is in the team. He helped me a lot with the corners and gave me some really nice tips. Especially the special lines for the SLS are really good to. He knows the lines very good to me.
Rick Breukers is in the team with his father, and there are more family members sharing cars in the race. Another father-son team is Dirk and Jan-Mark Schultz, only they don't fare quite as well.
Well, it appears to be either something with the ignition or if not with the gasoline, because I was doing my stint going very well, the times just as we anticipated, and then suddenly it was misfiring. I don't know on how many of the cylinders, but definitely was not running on all 6. And then it started to slow down and actually bog down completely in right-hand turn.
Lots of right-hand turns, as Stephen Ritchie in the number 16 Audi R8 finds out. For Zest Race Car Engineering, there's been a night of work on the car, and that hasn't ensured smooth sailing just yet. With its penalty, it's only managed to clock up 35 laps. That's 100 less than the Class A5 leader. And now, as we've been racing for 2 hours today, let's look at the standings after 5 hours of the race. At the last race in Mugello, race director Martin van der Havert made a statement about how the race would be controlled at Zandvoort.
Every track has its own race control, and some have small screens, some have big screens. You have been to Dubai, they have enormous screens. Zandvoort have small screens or camera systems.
Not anymore. We had very small screens. We had little TVs, like 15-inch televisions. So we built a complete new race control, and that's even going further because we're now building a system that now we do every trace. We do it on, like, there is a track reference. You can see a transponder number into a system where you can see your car is driving somewhere on the track. And the new system has visibility solutions in there that we recognize the car based on about 30-40 points of reference of the car. So we don't need any technical additional material anymore. So as soon as we got a video, we can see, okay, this is car 302, and then we can do the same as we do already and still follow the car in the video system.
In the meantime, our cameras detect the SP3 Class APO Sport Porsche.
Well, we may have had a little bit of an exhaust blow, which has started to melt the bumper a bit, but yeah, it's just a bumper, it don't matter, does it? So.
Well, it's very hectic, more hectic than I expected, especially in the front. A lot of good drivers pushing very hard. You cannot make any mistake, because if you make any mistake, you're behind.
But of course, mistakes don't necessarily need to be made by the driver. Teams can make them as well. Maybe even the car itself has an issue. Rick Breukers finds himself with an open gull-wing door. This time it's on the other side of the car.
The problem was that it didn't close. I absolutely have no idea. So I hope it will not happen again, because it doesn't look nice driving around an open door. It costs time.
Mechanics of the team have to come up sometimes with makeshift solutions to unexpected problems. The ECU of the HB Racing Team Herbert heated up. The technicians managed to arrange for a large bag of frozen French fries in their attempt to cool down the electrical system.
I have in the turn 3, I have no traction, and I thought the transmission is broken. But it's not broken because the wheel is broken. And then I go out of the track, and the marshals come and put the car in front of me and want to tow to the box. But in the last corner, 100 meters before we go in the box, the wheel broken and fly away.
and when I was passing it, the left rear wheel came off. I was bouncing in front of me, so I braked, full braked, and I bounced on the car. And so I was hoping I had not too much damage. The car felt okay, but that was really a weird moment.
They can fix it. We need 10 minutes, and the next driver is on the track and make a good race.
At the moment we're halfway, so only 6 hours to go. Still happy how things are going. We don't have a lot of big accidents. We have a lot of fights in different classes. The lead is changing every time, so that keeps it exciting for everybody, for journalists, for the crowd, I think for the teams themselves. Sun is still shining, atmosphere in the pit boxes and paddock is really good. So yes, I think teams enjoying themselves in the pit box, outside the pit box, drivers enjoy themselves on the track. So yes, we're happy so far. So keep it up for 6 more hours and we'll be good.
I had a quite good stint, and a Porsche tried to outbrake me and went into my race line and hit my front wheel. So it's have a small damage now.
We've had loads of penalty, which is actually due to our own fault. So speeding in the pit lane, speeding in for fuel, and I think we had one for closing, not having the door open, during the fueling. So that's our own fault anyway.
The small details and getting them right is what it takes to win a race. Almost unnoticed, the 112 Renault Clio has moved into the lead of the A2 class. Apparently nothing is perfect. However, this is quite close to it.
We drive the class A2 and we're leading the class, so we're in very good position right now. Well, we didn't have any technical problems and we have very steady drivers, so that brought us where we are. So during the race, nothing really happened to us. We didn't crash or something like it. We even the car is as we started, no scratches. So up to now, it's perfect.
In the 4 hours we've been racing today, every class has seen changes. Leaders losing out, and some of the lesser known teams moving up. With 5 more hours of racing to go, these are the overall standings. Coming up next, the final hours of the Hankook 12H ZANDVOORT. It's the race to the checkered flag here at the Hankook 12H ZANDVOORT. It's organised by Creventic and the DNRT.
The previous driver had a little altercation with somebody. I think it was a guardrail, but it wasn't the same car I went out with this morning, so I had a tough time getting it on maybe a 58. Other than that, it was like 205s. They have transmission linkage problems, one problem after another, so I just have to baby it around.
We moved up in my stint from 6th to 3rd with visual contact with number 2. I thought at the end of the stint I could have reached him, but nevertheless the clutch is out now, so I think they'll have to work for an hour or something.
An endurance race is not only an endurance for the men and women, the drivers and technicians, but mainly for the machinery. It's not always the machinery that's at fault though.
Pierre was in the car, and after the curve with the wall, he was going straight to the back side of the circuit, and on one curve on the left, he saw a Seat, which we thought he let them go. But when he takes the curve, the Seat comes straight to him and has completely touched our car at the back right side of the car, and he has done 3 times 360, and the car went in the wall, on the side of the wall, and that's the way.
A code 60, and the teams rush to get their cars back to the pit. In the A6 class, we see teams changing their brake pads as well. That's just a testament of how hard it is to race on the Zandvoort circuit.
The brakes was already, I feel that the pads there was quite high. In the end, the pedal was pretty long, was still okay, but we had to change anyway, and it's safer for the next driver to have fresh parts, brake parts.
Today's been wonderful. Look at the day.
track temperature's good, everyone's well behaved. It's been a great day.
My family, they support me. I mean, right now they'll be watching live timing. They watch it all night.
So the media coverage of this event is huge. We have a lot of journalists coming from all over the world. We have a lot of reporters. And for the complete series, we have live media coverage. That means we are live on Motors TV during the races. And furthermore, we are supported by Radio Le Mans, who's doing the live commentary. So with onboard cameras, Radio Le Mans, everything is broadcasted all over the world. So yeah, I think nobody can miss the 24-hour series while it's on.
And not only while it is on, the 24hseries.com website keeps a good archive of the races in reports, photos and video. It's great to see that all of the classes, whatever their pace, can coexist together in this very packed track.
Oh, the traffic's definitely heavy, but that's part of the fun of this. You know, you have a mix of everything from those really fast GT3 cars down to some of the slower class cars. Everybody has a right to be on the track. Everybody has a right to some room and to not have their race interfered with. So, yeah, really, all in all, the competitors of this series are very courteous, work well together. So it's really a joy to drive with traffic that way.
I think the competition is pretty close, and the car is also soft on tires. That means for the distance it's pretty good. You can still make good lap times at the end of the run, and I think that's part of the success.
For some teams it seems to be smooth sailing, for others the weekend has been littered with problems.
I feel absolutely terrible for the other guys. They've just had problems after problems this weekend. Touch wood, we've had really clean sailing in the Aston. It's going well, everything's going to plan. We're losing quite a bit of time having to double stint tyres against P1 and P2s. They can get the wheels off quicker than we can. But yeah, commiserations to the other car. It's a nightmare for them.
You might have expected that this close to the end of the race, taking risks while overtaking would have diminished or even ended. However, several drivers still on the same laps as their close competitors. Even if there are a couple of laps in between, this could still be easily taken away by a queue at the fuel station or maybe a bigger repair in the pit lane. It's certainly not over. Tom Coronel back in the driver's seat of their number 67.
In the car they told me that if we pit now under the code 60 we can put Paul in and he can run to the end. We should hopefully gain a couple of minutes by pitting under the code 60, and that is more than enough than Paul loses to any pro driver here today. You know, he's been doing a fantastic job in the car. He's been seriously quick. So we've taken a bit of a gamble there. Paul's in for the glory stint, we hope. And we'll kind of see how everyone else's strategy pans out.
Bit of drama here. Paul White still not back on the track for Ram Racing. He's had to wait in the queue to get fuel. When the green flags wave again, the number 30 car is not leading anymore. Paul didn't restart from the first position, but from position number 2. And if you look at the overall result, it's confirmed there's now a 25-second gap between the Hofer number 10 and the 30 Ram Racing Mercedes. Endurance races always have their fair share of fans. Some even visit more than one event without really having a tie to any of the teams. There are two fans who'll never forget the experience of the Hankook 12H ZANDVOORT. Katie and Christian have come from Germany to get trackside and see the race live. But now a Hankook 24-hour series remote-controlled car has arrived with Katie. There's a ring and, of course, the all-important question. Katie has accepted the wedding proposal and put on her engagement ring. From everyone here, we would like to wish the both of you all the happiness in the world. Inside the last hour now, and the green flag is shown again. MSG Motorsport still in with a chance to get the class lead in the 997 Porsche class. Less than half a minute between Luca Rattenbacher in the 52 car and Charles Espenlaub, who is behind the wheel of the number 20, the MRS GR Racing Porsche.
Now at the moment I think there's 17 seconds, so we have 1 hour to go, and yes, I think it's possible. So we hope that we can get the first place.
Late change of drivers for the 170 Aston Martin Vantage of Speedworks Motorsport.
I've kept my nose clean most of the time. It's quite difficult with this many cars, and you start to see people make mistakes, so they get a bit tired, things start to fail, there's a bit of oil on the track. And I think some people's brake wear is getting a bit marginal, so you go into a corner and some people just aren't quite stopping as they think they're going to.
Dirk Schultz has to retire his Porsche 996 after 178 laps.
I would stop with the short races and go only endurance, but that's nice, you know, you have to go 2 hours steady, and I like that much. If the doctor still gives me clearance, anyhow, I'm 74, my friend.
The excitement is intensifying in the 997 category. Rettenbacher was ahead of Charles Espenlaub, but he's gone off and hit the gravel, lost his position again, now chasing for several laps. The two Porsche 991 Cup cars in the 997 class switching positions. Again now the MSG in front of the MRS car. Rettenbacher is not letting go. A full attack now on Espenlaub. At the start of the penultimate lap, Rettenbacher tries to intimidate Espenlaub. Thrilling action that is intensifying near the first corner. The cars have hit each other, now have spun. Their race has ended before they could cross the finishing line. No such issues for Christian Frankenhout. He's passed the checkered flag and he's the overall winner of the Hankook 12H Zandvoort. Just behind the Ram Racing number 30 with Paul White. The minute and a half they waited to get their fuel was crucial. At the end of the race, they're only 74 seconds apart. Not bad with a 12-hour race. The overall podium sees Hofer Racing number 10 ahead of Ram Racing number 30, with HP Racing number 2 in third. In the 997 Porsche class, race control decided that the results would be taken at the crossing of the finishing line before the accident happened. As that was after Rettenbacher passed Espenlaub, the results of the 997 class is MSG Motorsport number 52 first, MRS GT Racing number 20 second, and Porsche Laureate Racing number 62 third. Down in the beach house, everyone gets their trophies. An evening of live music, a barbecue and enough drinks to go around. A great way to finish an intense weekend. In SP2, Mark Cars Australia first and second with their 91 and 92 cars, with GC Automobiles number 150 third. In SP3, Core Oyster Racing's Lotus wins it, the number 160 car, from Speedwork Motorsport Aston Martin in second and APO Sport in third. In A5, Team Ultron in their Peugeot win from Hofer Cooper Racing, the 75 car in second, and the second of the Team Ultron cars in third position. The Cup 1 for BMWs, Bonk Motorsport, the 73 car wins from Securtal Zorg Rennsport number 69, and Mission Possible by Zorg Rennsport number 70 in third. In A2, Presenter.eu Racing Team Clio 112 is the winner. RGC TGM 99 in second and VDS Racing Adventures in third. Even after all of the ceremonies, the evening in Zandvoort hadn't finished yet. That was the Hankook 12H Zandvoort. Exciting right to the end and enjoyable for all. We'll be back in the Netherlands for the 2016 Hankook 12H Zandvoort, but we look forward to seeing you all next in Paul Ricard, France. For more information, check 24hseries.com. This programme is brought to you by Hankook Tyres, BRM Watches, Radio Show Limited, the DNRT, and Motors TV.